Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget.
Chapter 101. A Crushed Self-Esteem. Li Zhenqiu, Huang Hongyun, and his father walked up the stage together and stood in a straight line. Under everybody's startled gaze, they bowed 90° to Chen Hao. Nice to meet you, young Master Chen. Congratulations on your purchase of the Cloud Manor. Their voices rang out in unison as if it was planned. Bam! As soon as they uttered those words, it was as if somebody had thrown a bombshell into the crowd. Everybody was stunned. Young Master Chen. So this is young Master Chen. Oh my god. He's actually the young Master Chen of Jinling, the richest tycoon in the nation. All of them had their mouths wide open. They were exceptionally pleased and delighted at the same time. What young Master Chen Hao is young Master Chen? Tang Ran's legs nearly gave way as she stumbled backward. During the last family gathering, somebody had speculated that Chen Hao was the rich tycoon, young Master Chen. The theory was rejected by Tang Ran afterward because he did not look like it. However, the scene in front of her nearly caused her to faint. Young Master Chen. Chen Hao was actually young Master Chen. No wonder 800 million was nothing in his eyes. He did not bat an eyelid even after buying a 20 million luxury car because he was one of the world's richest second-generation heir, young Master Chen. He was the wealthiest person here. Tang Ran's face darkened. She really regretted it. Below the stage, Li Wangfeng was feeling extremely regretful. Just now, young Master Chen wanted to shake his hands and even smiled at him. It was such a great opportunity for him. However, he did not even look young Master Chen in the eye. In addition to that, what did he say to young Master Chen? He actually insulted young Master Chen by calling him a dubious person. He even started lecturing him. Young Master Chen only smiled and said nothing at that time. At this moment, Fang Qing, Su Na, Wang Shui, and Li Mingfei had their mouths so wide open that you could insert eggs into them. In short, these people wanted nothing more than for the ground to swallow them up right now. Chen Hao stood on top of the stage and looked at the dumbfounded audience. He only smiled indifferently. Why would he need to get angry because of them? Wouldn't it be better to teach them a lesson this way? It felt way better than beating them up. Chen Hao looked in Tang Ran's direction and said, "Cousin Tang Ran, I have already bought the manor. Shouldn't you give me my keys and bring me over to the actual site of the Cloud Manor?" "Hi. Okay Chen, young Master Chen," Tang Ran said with some difficulty. She did not know how to address Chen Hao anymore. She turned around and brought along Chen Hao and his entourage to the foot of the mountain where the Cloud Manor was located. "Tang Ran, we would like to go as well. Can you ask young Master Chen to bring us along too?" At this moment, both Fang Qing and Su Na ran over to her. They reached Tang Ran's side and intentionally spoke those words out aloud. They wanted Chen Hao to hear their sincerity in repenting for their mistakes. They didn't care about dignity anymore. Why would they need such a useless thing? The most important thing now was that they needed to make young Master Chen happy so that he would forgive them. They believed that with their beauty, even if they did not catch his attention, at least they could stay by his side and become his maid. I cannot beg him. Tang Ran's brain was nearly fried. How could she even think of begging another person? "Young Master Chen, please bring us along, pretty please, it was our fault just now, all our fault. We will do anything as long as you forgive us." Fang Qing and Su Na's eyes were brimming with tears. To be honest, when he saw their attitudes, Chen Hao really looked down upon them in his heart. How could they change their attitudes toward him so rapidly? Chen Hao was very angry at the situation they put him in just now, thus he snapped, "Okay, if you want me to forgive you, then bark like a dog." It was purely words spoken out of anger. What he really wanted was for them to get lost. Woof! 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 Unexpectedly, both of them started barking in front of the audience. They even wagged their bodies while saying, "Young Master Chen, see how good I am at imitating a dog. What would you like this bitch to do? I will learn it for you, okay?" They even stuck their tongues out at him. Fuck! Chen Hao's head nearly exploded. Both of them were really. This was the first time in his life that Chen Hao had come across a woman who was even worse than Yang Xia. They literally had no bottom lines. They actually barked when they were told to do so. Actually, Fang Qing and Su Na had decided to go all out. They must stick to young Master Chen closely no matter what he wanted them to do. Their methods really worked. Chen Hao was rendered speechless. He waved his hands and said, "Come along if you want then. Young Master Chen." At this moment, Li Wangfeng bellowed. He lifted both his hands and bent forward as he squeezed through the crowd and appeared in front of Chen Hao. "Young Master Chen. It was my fault for not recognizing such an important person like you. I hope you can forgive me. My name is Li Wangfeng. We met each other just now." Li Wangfeng extended both his hands and wanted to shake Chen Hao's hands warmly. This was young Master Chen. Li Wangfeng could never offend this person, not even if he had 100 lives. Young Master Chen could end your life in a matter of seconds. But I do not know you. Chen Hao said indifferently as he put his hands back into his pockets. This. Young Master Chen. I am very sorry if my daughter and I offended you just now. We will apologize to you right this instant. Li Wangfeng was embarrassed. He waved his hands. Only then did Li Mingfei come over, looking aggrieved. This loser was actually young Master Chen. Who would have expected this? Young Master Chen, I am really sorry, please accept my apologies. Oh, I thought you were a clean freak just now when I was sitting behind you. You were so anxious that you nearly cried and wanted to change seats. So you don't have that obsession anymore. Why are you standing so close to me? Aren't you scared? Chen Hao smiled. He was really only smiling. Li Mingfei was so embarrassed that her face looked flushed. Apparently she wasn't the least bit attractive to young Master Chen. Chen Hao smiled bitterly and shook his head. He did not bother about them anymore. He turned around and brought Li Zhenqiu and the rest of them up the hill. This was the first time Chen Hao had trampled on other people. He was so furious just now, and by doing that, he really felt much better. Besides, Chen Hao only realized how cool it was to be rich when he saw the prideful Tang Ran following behind him while holding the keys to his manor. To be honest, Tang Ran was really confused right now because at this moment, it seemed like she had other feelings for Chen Hao. She felt that he was very handsome. He was handsome beyond comparison. Obviously her pride was hurt today, but Tang Ran didn't mind because she saw a new opportunity to fulfill her long-standing wish of becoming a rich person. From her observation, young Master Chen didn't seem to dislike her. Besides, she would become the butler of this Cloud Manor in the future. She was destined to have a lot of interaction with young Master Chen. My dear cousin, do I have to betray you? Then it was definitely an amusing morning. Chen Hao walked around the manor for nearly 2 hours. It was nearly 4 p.m. when he brought his entourage down the hill. The moment they reached the foot of the hill, several messages suddenly flashed in his class's group chat. His tutor, Meng Keru, had texted the group a few photos and a few rows of text. Students, please forward these messages to your circle of friends. Please help this student. Her younger sister is gravely ill and she does not have any means to earn a living. Please help her family with their plight by donating some money. Thank you and God bless you all. As for the contents of the photos, one look and you definitely knew that it was taken under Meng Keru's directives. It was Hao Lanlin. She had asked Hao Lanlin to hold up a plaque with the words "Please help me" written on it. Meng Keru even made her stand on the classroom's stage to beg for help. Hao Lanlin looked pale and her eyes were tightly closed in the picture. Both her hands were gripping the paper plaque extremely tightly. It was obvious that her nails were digging deeply into the paper plaque. My dear students, these are the photos and contents that I have designed myself to help Hao Lanlin with her fundraising. Do you think there is anything that needs to be improved? If not, I shall submit this to the department. If you have no problems with it, please put a tick. Blondie, tick. Han Siu, tick. Chen Hao was stunned speechless. He was right, it was Meng Keru's idea. How could she crush a person's self-esteem so viciously? Chen Hao did not know when Hao Lanlin had returned back to the college. He also did not know when the fundraising started. However, with one look, Chen Hao knew that the method of publicizing this fundraising event was definitely Meng Keru's doing because she had forced him to do it before. He couldn't believe she still had the guts to talk about kindness and to bring up the class's honor. Damn it! Chen Hao knew all too well how Hao Lanlin was feeling now as he personally experienced it before. He could barely swallow his pride at that time, let alone Hao Lanlin who had a stronger sense of pride than him. Yang Hao, please get a car ready, I am going back to school this instant. Chen Hao said in a hurry. Chapter 102. Chen Hao's Rage. It was not long before Chen Hao reached his college. He immediately ran toward his faculty's classroom. However, the moment he arrived at the west entrance, many people had already gathered there. There were so many students from different faculties that they nearly blocked the entire passageway. Chen Hao saw Yang Hui and the rest of his gang standing amongst the crowd. Hence, he made his way toward them. Only then he saw the source of all this commotion. He saw a girl holding up a sign at the west entrance, looking small and insignificant. She had her head buried low. However, Chen Hao recognized her with a glance. Who could it be other than Hao Lanlin? Meng Keru, Zhang Weiwei who was the president of the department's student council and Wang Yang were standing beside her. At this moment, they were taking photos of Hao Lanlin as if she was just a background. Chen Hao, you're here. Doesn't this make you angry? Yang Hui patted Chen Hao on his shoulder and said angrily, Hao Lanlin is facing some difficulties but our tutor is crossing the line. If she truly wanted to organize a fundraising, she could just do so in another way. Why did she have to ask Hao Lanlin to hold up a sign and stand in front of everyone? Li Rui said, if it weren't for all the hype around it, how could our faculty become famous? Take a look, our tutor, Wang Yang, and Zhang Weiwei have been busy helping out Hao Lanlin the entire afternoon. They wanted Hao Lanlin to stand there so that they could show off their efforts. This incident has caught the attention of the college. They said something about paying extra attention to this matter and helping their students through these difficult times. Actually, those who knew the inside story were furious about this matter. To outsiders, they would have thought that this girl looked pitiful. She was willing to stand in front of the crowd in order to raise some money for her younger sister's medical expenses as her family was too poor. It was just too pitiful. Hence, a lot of people were willing to donate. However, the insiders knew that it was all Meng Kera's idea. When Hao Lanlan returned to school, she had asked Meng Kera for help in the morning. In the end, Meng Kera came out with this idea. If Hao Lanlan did not do what she wanted, she would not help her. "Director Zhang, you're here." Meng Kera shook hands with a bald middle-aged guy. He then put 200 into the donation box. "Director Zhang, let us take a photo together." "Okay, okay, okay." Snap. Both of them had their pictures taken together. "Hey, Zhang Tao, Wang Ming, you guys came." At this moment, Wang Yang's friends came over. They appeared smug. They were from the faculty next door and friends with student council members. Of course. After uttering those words, several of them donated a few hundred. Afterward, they took a picture together. Below the stage, Chen Hao saw the same thing happen a few times and noticed that this process was carried out all throughout the donation. How was this considered a donation? They treated this like a show to bring honor to their class. Chen Hao was so angry that his face turned red. Chen Hao felt a mixture of pity and guilt for Hao Lanlan, who looked ashen. He was the first to know about Hao Lanlan's situation. She believed in him, which was why she told him about her difficulties. He had even advised her and gave her some hope. However, over the next few days, he did not make it in time to help her out of her situation, and that had led her to this point. It wasn't because Chen Hao was a saint or anything, but every time Chen Hao saw this kind of situation, he would think of himself. It was as if he was experiencing it personally. He had to do something. If this continued to go on, Hao Lanlan might not have the desire to live anymore. Thinking about this, Chen Hao broke away from the crowd and shoved Wang Yang aside, who was having his picture taken. Then he grabbed the paper plaque that Hao Lanlan was holding and threw it onto the ground. "Chen Hao, you!" Hao Lanlan cried out hoarsely. Obviously, she had cried many times before this. "Hao Lanlan, you don't have to be their background for the photos. If they wanted to help you sincerely, they wouldn't treat you that way. I will help you out with your financial issues. Let us go back to class." Chen Hao said with anger. There were still a lot of good people in this world. They would definitely lend a helping hand if they saw someone in a difficult position. However, Meng Kera took advantage of this situation to boost her ego, which was unbelievable. "Chen Hao, are you mad?" Zhang Weiwei glared angrily at Chen Hao. When had he become so bold? "Chen Hao, do you know what you just said? I am warning you. Leave immediately, if not an expulsion letter will be sent to you." Meng Kera was a prideful person. When she heard Chen Hao ridiculing them, she immediately retaliated. Wang Yang was even more furious. "You poor loser! Do you think that you are so high and mighty after winning the lottery ticket? How dare you fucking shove me!" After uttering those words, Wang Yang grabbed Chen Hao by his hair and slapped him on the face. He was definitely someone with a huge temper. Since his family was so rich, nobody had dared treat him like this before. On the other hand, how could Chen Hao compare to him in terms of strength? His face was burning with pain. "Ah! Don't fight anymore. Wang Yang, I beg you, please don't hit Chen Hao. I don't want this donation anymore, please don't hit him." Hao Lanlan was scared out of her wits. She quickly tried to stop Wang Yang. After all, she was the reason why they started the fight. "Get lost! How dare you touch me, you poor losers!" Wang Yang roared. He was about to launch himself at Chen Hao again. Slam! Suddenly, Wang Yang felt like he was blacking out. A red object came flying straight at his face and it came down upon him again and again. Chen Hao had picked up a brick and was smashing his head with it. He had used a huge amount of force. The brick had shattered. Ugh! Wang Yang covered his head and lay on the ground moaning in pain. Ah! They're fighting! The crowd started to panic. Zhang Weiwei and Meng Keru were scared out of their wits. Chen Hao was just too vicious. Damn! Did this poor loser hit Wang Yang? Does he not want to live anymore? Does he know who Wang Yang's father is? He is one of the most influential figures in this area. That's it, he can never stay in this college anymore. What do you mean stay? If the school expelled him, I believe that he would not even make it out alive to Jinling railway station. The crowd was shocked. After all, in their eyes, you just could not offend some people. The moment you did, you were doomed for your entire life. Wang Yang, are you okay? You bastard, how dare you hit me? Give my uncle a phone call quickly. I want his entire family dead. Of course Wang Yang, we won't let this bastard get away with it. Wang Yang, you are bleeding, there's so much blood. Some girls sobbed. The girls instantly surrounded him and helped him up, distressed. All of them were glaring at Chen Hao. In their eyes, Wang Yang was a precious person. He was rich and handsome. The person in front of them was a total loser. He should die 10,000 times for beating up Wang Yang. Damn it! I will never let him get away with this. Bring me to the hospital first. I will give my father a call. Wang Yang's injuries were quite serious. At the very least, he had suffered a concussion. He spat viciously as he was carted away into an ambulance. Chen Hao, just you wait. Chen Hao, on the other hand. Haha. Wait for my ass. To be honest, Chen Hao had long wanted to beat up Wang Yang. In the past, he was ordered around by the student council to run errands. If he were to do it too slowly, he would be kicked and slapped by Wang Yang multiple times. For example, the first time he met Su Tongzhen in the lecture hall, Wang Yang wanted to beat him up for dirtying her shoes. If she hadn't stopped him, wouldn't Wang Yang have beaten him up even though he didn't talk about it? It was still deeply etched in Chen Hao's memories. When he heard Wang Yang screaming that Hao Lanlan and him were two poor losers, Chen Hao's fury was ignited. You were running back and forth for Hao Lanlan's sake just now, however, I don't think you ever treated her as a human being. Hence, Chen Hao just felt around, picked up a brick and smashed it into his head. It was indeed an exhilarating feeling. Humph, Chen Hao, you are really something. Let us see how you continue your studies in the future. Wei, come to the dean's office with me now. Before Wang Yang's father gets here, we need to get this issue sorted. If not, knowing Wang Yang's father, he would definitely blow it up. Okay, Miss Meng. Zhang Weiwei shook her head wordlessly as she looked at Chen Hao. As if saying, you are doomed. Chapter 103. Chen Hao was expelled. Chen Hao ignored the taunts of these people. He just took out his mobile phone and sent a message to Li Zhenqiu. He told him about Wang Yang's family. Then he dragged Hao Lanlan back to the classroom. Yang Hui knew that Chen Hao was in big trouble this time. Wang Yang family's financial background was more than good. His father worked in international trade, and he was rich. He was also a local in Jinling. He could be considered as the overlord of Jinling. However, Chen Hao's brothers still accompanied him openly. Chen Hao, are you hiding in the classroom? Haha, the dean wants to see you. Zhang Weiwei flung the classroom door open. She crossed her arms and said lightly. By the way, your name is Yang Hui, right? Help Chen Hao pack his things so that he doesn't have to come back and pack it when he leaves. As Chen Hao had once gifted her a piece of expensive clothing, Zhang Weiwei had decided to remind him. Then she turned around and left. Chen Hao followed Zhang Weiwei immediately and reached the dean's office. Meng Keru and other girls who were close with Wang Yang were all waiting at the door. Humph! You deserve it. Go in. The dean will see you alone. Meng Keru smiled coldly. Expulsion is not the only thing that you're getting. The fact that you've beaten our Wang Yang means that you will suffer your entire life. Some girls said angrily. Chen Hao smiled like he didn't care. He ignored them, pushed the door open and went in. The dean's surname was Li and his first name was Jian Shan. He was a middle-aged man with spectacles. At this moment, he was drinking a cup of tea while reading the newspaper. As soon as Chen Hao came in, he placed his cup on the table with a thud. Chen Hao, I would never have expected that you would be caught fighting. You have always had outstanding achievements in our faculty and I think you are a virtuous and honest person. I didn't think that you would be so impulsive. What you did was stupid. Li Jianshan scolded coldly. Dean, I'm not the one who started the fight. Chen Hao said lightly. Humph, I don't care who started it. In short, you have beaten Wang Yang. It's your fault. I'll tell you, you've gotten yourself into big trouble this time. With your family situation, how could you compare with Wang Yang? I have a dropout form here. Just sign your name and leave. Li Jianshan gave Chen Hao a scornful look. The things that he said to praise Chen Hao just now were out of courtesy. But to be honest, Chen Hao didn't expect that things would be so serious that he was to be expelled. From the looks of it, he knew that Li Jianshan was determined to dismiss him. This was because Wang Yang's family was rich and he had no money. If Wang Yang was the one who hit him, he would at best apologize to him and then compensate for the medical expenses. I am being expelled just because I hit him. There is nothing that I can do. Since it has come to this extent, I will just sign it. Chen Hao placed his mobile phone on the desk. He took up the pen and began to fill in the form, including the reasons for dropping out. Li Jianshan smiled scornfully. Unexpectedly, Chen Hao's cell phone rang. The incoming call showed that it was Director Liang. It was a call from Director Liang from the Education Bureau. Last week, due to his sister's request to act on her behalf to invest in Hope Elementary Schools, they had been in contact. However, Chen Hao did not have time to answer. He was busy writing fast. However, this call attracted Li Jianshan's attention. Is this Director Liang? It's really Director Liang's number. Li Jianshan was naturally inferior to Director Liang, but he remembered his number clearly. Why was Director Liang calling Chen Hao? Who was Chen Hao to him? Why you? Don't dilly-dally, pick up the call quickly. Li Jianshan's expression changed. He stood up and asked Chen Hao to answer the phone. Unbelievable. Director Liang was someone which the headmaster himself had to run to meet. What's the hurry? I haven't finished writing. Let me finish this first. He received many calls from many people. Normally, Chen Hao would answer it right away. But, looking at how anxious Li Jianshan was, he deliberately didn't want to answer the phone. Of course, Chen Hao and Director Liang had meals together twice. They understood each other a lot. Therefore, they were on friendly terms. Why are you still writing? Answer it immediately. Why is Director Liang calling you? Quick, answer it quickly. 2. Because no one picked up, the phone had stopped ringing. Haha, Chen Hao, you're so stubborn. You deserve it. You deserve it this time. Ring. The phone started ringing again. Answer it quickly. Now. This time, Li Jianshan just snatched the pen out of Chen Hao's hand. He picked up the phone himself and placed it beside Chen Hao's ear. As for Chen Hao, he didn't reach for his mobile phone. He just sat down while Li Jianshan raised his body while holding the phone to Chen Hao's ear. The scene was funny, but Li Jianshan just went with it for the sake of his future. No matter what Director Liang's business was with Chen Hao, he had decided to say hello to Director Zhang before they ended the call. Hello Uncle Liang. Chen Hao smiled. Young Master Chen, you didn't pick up my call just now, are you busy? Liang Baizheng said with a smile. After meeting with Chen Hao several times, Liang Baizheng had good impressions of Chen Hao. As soon as Chen Hao heard that building the Hope Elementary School was for a charitable cause, he accepted all the projects without further question. Besides that, he immediately transferred the funds. What was more, this rich young man was actually very kind and kept a low profile. This made Liang Baizheng want to have a close relationship with him. Well, I was busy filling in a dropout form just now. The dean won't let me continue my studies. By the way, Uncle Liang, what can I do for you? Chen Hao smiled. He thought Li Zhenqiu would be the first to call. He didn't expect that it was him. Why you? Li Jianshan wanted to cover Chen Hao's mouth. When Chen Hao called Liang Baizheng Uncle Liang just now, no one could imagine how scared Li Jianshan was. My God! Their relationship was not ordinary. Now, after listening to what Chen Hao said, of course he was nervous. Well, you know that our Hope Elementary School's construction was halted because of funding issues, but I just wanted to inform you that the construction is almost done now. It will be ready for use in another 2 months. Young Master Chen, I'm calling to ask if you have time. If you do, please come here tomorrow. We have an activity here. Sure. No problem. Chen Hao nodded his head. Oh yes, young Master Chen. What did you say just now? Dropout form. Only now did Liang Baizheng reflect on what Chen Hao said. Yes. The dean persuaded me to quit my studies. I am filling the form in front of him now. Originally, Chen Hao's plan was to fill up the form and come back to talk to Li Jianshan after dealing with Wang Yang. He wanted to see if he was still as just as he was. But now, he wondered if Uncle Liang could help him. Young Master Chen, pass the phone to him. Chen Hao smiled and nodded, here, it's for you. Ah, okay, okay. Li Jianshan immediately straightened up and adjusted his collar. Hello Director Liang. Yes, yes, yes. Misunderstanding. Everything is just a misunderstanding. Yes, yes, yes. What he is actually the young Master Chen, my God. Okay, okay, I will keep it a secret. Sure, sure. Don't you worry. Li Jianshan gulped. Director Liang's last sentence made Li Jianshan feel like he was being struck by thunder. Everybody had heard of the famous young Master Chen in Jinling. And Chen Hao was young Master Chen. Dun Chen Hao asked with a smile. Why young Master Chen? I'm done with the call. Li Jianshan's face was exuberant. It was a change from the initial disdain. Now all he could see was adulation. Oh, where were we just now? I've filled in everything, and it's just short of a signature. Chen Hao took up his pen again. No. Li Jianshan roared loudly and grabbed Chen Hao's hand tightly. Chapter 104. Where do you think you are going? Young Master Chen, it was a misunderstanding. Li Jianshan was about to cry in anxiety. What misunderstanding? I couldn't possibly stay in Jinling anymore. Quick, just let me quit. Chen Hao pretended that he wanted to sign the form. Young Master Chen, it was my mistake, it's my fault. To be frank, this matter can be solved by just giving you a punishment. I was swayed by others to persuade you to quit. If the principal knew that I was the one who persuaded the young Master Chen from Jinling to quit his studies, I would be dead. Even if he didn't know, it's still enough for me to die hundreds of times too for doing so. Alright, then tell me what's your plan for this matter. Meng Kara humiliated a student in public. It seriously hurt the student's self-esteem. Chen Hao didn't notice that he was no longer the boy he once was. He was no longer sorry or even cowardly when he did things. Now, Chen Hao said whatever he wanted to say. Don't worry, young Master Chen. I'll make sure this matter is resolved fairly. One more thing, please donate 500,000 to Hao Lanlan under the name of Ordinary Guy. I'll transfer the money to you later. Thank you. That's very nice of you. Li Jianshan laughed. Only then did Chen Hao nod his head. He got up and left. Meanwhile, some people were gathering outside the door. Sigh. Chen Hao has been persuaded to quit at last. The college has supported him with subsidies for 3 years and it's ironic because he will never get to graduate. Haha. Meng Kara gave a wry smile while crossing her arms. He deserves to be expelled. How dare he beat our Wang Yang? I bet he wouldn't make it out of Jinling alive. A few girls were still in rage. The door finally opened at this time. Everyone, including Meng Kara, wanted to rush over and teach Chen Hao a lesson. Chen Hao, watch out! There's a small step here over here. Looking at this scene, it made everyone widen their eyes. Li Jianshan was holding Chen Hao carefully. The step was only 1 or 2 centimeters high and it couldn't even be considered as a step. Was Li Jianshan afraid that Chen Hao would trip? Fuck, what's going on? Meng Kara gaped in astonishment. Dean Li, Chen Hao. What? I've solved the matter. I was about to question you, Miss Meng. If Chen Hao hadn't told me, I wouldn't have known that you asked the female student to hold a sign and stand in public. And you even took photos there. I'm certain that I told you about this matter. I didn't know about it. Anyway, Miss Meng, the way you trampled on students' self-esteem is outrageous. I actually wanted to award you the title of excellent tutor in our faculty before this. But now, forget about it. What? Dean Li, in order to get the title of excellent tutor, I have worked hard for nearly 3 years to earn honor for our department. I have worked hard for 3 years. Meng Kara was completely puzzled. It is still a question whether our college can continue to employ you as a tutor based on your behavior. Don't even think about being an excellent tutor. Bah! After Li Jianshan's tirade ended, he looked at Zhang Weiwei, who looked confused. As for you, although you have held the position of president in the student council for 3 years, you couldn't even solve a tiny problem. Once you encounter trouble, you come to us. What else can you do? You'll continue to hold the position for now, but once there is a suitable candidate for the position, you will be replaced. Hey! Do you have any problem with that? Li Jianshan growled at Zhang Weiwei. He then turned and went back into his office with his hands behind his back. Zhang Weiwei thought, motherfucker, I didn't even say a word. Why, what happened? Zhang Weiwei and Meng Kara were thinking the same thing and glanced at Chen Hao coldly together. Chen Hao could only force a smile and leave. He thought, soon it will be Wang Yang's turn. You guys have bullied me for so long. It's time for you guys to pay. Chen Hao went back to the classroom. Yang Hui and the others had gone back to the dormitory. He went back to his dorm and lay down. After telling Yang Hui and the others that he was fine, he took a glance at the clock. It was about 6 o'clock in the evening. He planned to scroll his phone for a while and then rest. At this time, Meng Keru sent a message to his alternate chat account. I'm pissed off. Mr. Ordinary Guy, I don't want to live anymore. Tell me, what should I do? Meng Keru said. To be frank, his blood boiled when he saw Meng Keru's name. If you don't want to live anymore, then kill yourself. What else can you do? He replied to her immediately. Oh dear! You're such a bad boy. I was just telling you my worries. Chen Hao was speechless. I replied to her in a very rude manner, didn't I? And she is actually whining to me in a cutesy manner. Chen Hao was still in a daze. Humph! I'm always concerned about you, but you don't seem to care about me. I'm sad. But I have something to tell you. Mr. Ordinary Guy, you are the only one that I can trust. Something happened today. Do you know about our faculty's donation event? The donation was ruined by a poor loser in our class. Hao Lanlan can't get the money for her sister's treatment now. What's more, I even lost the title of excellent tutor because of that poor loser. I have donated 500,000 to Hao Lanlan. As for you losing the excellent tutor title, you deserve it. Chen Hao didn't show any mercy. You're so mean. I find that you really like to tease me all the time. Hey! Oh my gosh! Chen Hao was utterly lost for words. Sigh, did people not mind being scolded as long as you had money? I think so. At the same time, Han Siyu sent a message to Chen Hao. Are you there, Mr. Ordinary Guy? Chen Hao was pissed off by these two women. Go away. I'm not here. Chen Hao scolded. Oh dear, Mr. Ordinary Guy is a bad guy. Why are you scolding me? Chen Hao was speechless yet again. It seems that it's true. As long as you were rich, people didn't mind being scolded. He ignored their messages. Chen Hao logged into his main account and chatted with Su Tongzhen for a while. After that, he went to bed. Chen Hao woke up very early the next day as he had to attend the ceremony mentioned by Uncle Liang. If he went to get his car early in the morning, he wouldn't be noticed. Anyhow, he should keep laying low. Chen Hao reached the park. Humph! Isn't that the poor loser? Do you know that he wasn't expelled yesterday? It pisses me off. That's right. I can't believe he wasn't beaten to death after hitting Wang Yang. It's indeed a miracle. Something is wrong. Look, it's only 6 o'clock in the morning. What is he doing up so early? Don't tell me that he's trying to run away. Yes, I think he's trying to run. Sisters, this poor loser has beaten our Wang Yang. No way we are letting him go. Let us stop him. As soon as Chen Hao reached the park, 4 girls appeared out of nowhere and blocked his path. They were the sharp-tongued girls who scolded Chen Hao yesterday because of Wang Yang. It seemed like 4 of them were here for a morning run. He never thought that he would meet them here. Humph, poor loser, where do you think you are going? The leader of the group said coldly. Chen Hao toyed with his Lamborghini car key after taking it out of his pocket. He then signaled them to look at the Lamborghini behind them. I'm not going anywhere. I just want to go for a drive. Chen Hao replied with a cold remark. Then, he pressed on the car key's unlock button. Beep. Beep. The headlights flickered and the door opened automatically. Chapter 105. Running into a high school classmate. The car door opened. The four of them looked dumbfounded. What, this luxury car belonged to Chen Hao? Wasn't he the poor loser from their faculty? How could he own such a beautiful luxury car? All four of them looked at Chen Hao. Their expressions changed. This car alone cost many times more than Wang Yang's Audi. Bah! Who was Wang Yang to them now? This was a Lamborghini. How cool was that? The leader of the group looked pale, but she still trotted toward Chen Hao and asked anxiously, Chen Hao, is this your car? Is this really your car? If this is not my car, then who does it belong to you? Chen Hao seemed accustomed to the attitude of these types of girls. Hence, he retorted coldly. Ah! Your car is so cool. It must be worth at least 10 to 20 million, right? That girl came close to his car. She was completely in love with it. If she had the chance to sit in this kind of luxury car just once, she would be willing to die. The rest of the three girls also made their way here. All of them were giving Chen Hao respectful glances. It costs about 18 million. Chen Hao started the engine of the car. It immediately roared to life. The sound of it was so sexy. Wow! It's so cool. Chen Hao, where are you going? Can you give us a ride? The girls gave him a flirty smile. Get lost. However, Chen Hao only admonished them coldly. To be honest, these girls were quite gorgeous. However, although they were beautiful, they had planned to beat him to a pulp just now because of Wang Yang. Now, they wanted him to give them a ride. There was no free lunch in this world. After admonishing them, Chen Hao reversed and left immediately. Chen Hao! Why you? They stomped their feet angrily when they were ignored by Chen Hao. They did not know that he was such a rich person. They felt like they were losing out on something. How could they offend such a rich person over a second fiddle like Wang Yang? It just wasn't worth it. As for Chen Hao, after scolding them, he drove all the way to the conference site. Although he was a bit early, Liang Beizheng and some of the leaders were already there. This event was divided into two segments. First of all, there would be a meeting regarding the construction of the school, which would be starting in 1 hour. Chen Hao and the leaders were required to hold the meeting separately in a private meeting room. Hope Elementary School would be funded by Chen Hao. They would construct approximately 20 to 30 schools, and these schools would be specifically used to provide a learning environment for the children of migrant workers. It was a huge contribution. Naturally, it received a lot of attention. As for the second segment, the meeting would be held in the big conference hall with the academic staff. In 2 months, students would be able to enroll in these schools. The training of the academic staff would be started in advance. Chen Hao was forced to attend the first meeting. He had to listen to Liang Beizheng talking about various things for 1 or 2 hours. As for the academic staff meeting, Chen Hao did not plan on going because they did not need his input on that. Besides, the most important thing was Chen Hao felt a tremendous amount of pressure being in the same room with a group of teachers. He was not on the same level as them and their knowledge was vast. This made Chen Hao feel intimidated. Since he had some free time to himself, Chen Hao thought of going to one of the Hope Elementary schools nearby to take a look. After all, it was one of the most meaningful things that he had done. Chen Hao did not drive there. He only walked in the direction of the elementary school. Because the reconstruction of the elementary school was nearly done, therefore within less than 2 months, it had already reached the renovation stage. The landscaping was also complete. He had to admit that the environment of an elementary school that was built using a huge amount of money was good indeed. Just when he was preparing to send the 2 photos that he had taken of the school over to his sister. "Stop it! Did you not know that photographing is not allowed in the school's vicinity? Did you not see the warning signs?" Right at this moment, a fierce, cold female voice rang out. Chen Hao jumped in fright. He turned around to take a look. It was true. The sign showed that photographing was forbidden. "I am so sorry, I did not notice it. I will delete it now." Although this school was built by him, Chen Hao did not think he was that special. Hence, he prepared to cooperate by deleting the photos. "Who are you?" "Chen Hao." Unexpectedly, when Chen Hao turned around, the girl in the black uniform with a ponytail actually called out to him. "Chen Lin, you know this guy?" There were 2 girls and 1 guy standing beside Chen Lin. At this moment, they were asking her this question out of curiosity. Chapter 106. Chen Hao's sympathy. "What's up?" Chen Hao lifted his head and asked. "Tonight we will be having a gathering with our friends from high school. We will usually gather about once or twice per month. We did not invite you the last time, but since we met you today, I am just going to go ahead and inform you. By the way, Xian is going as well." "Haha, speaking of her, I recalled something. Back when we were studying in high school, you were ranked first while she came in second. Both of you were close to each other and I think you pursued her before, right?" Chen Lin covered her mouth and laughed. Chen Hao did not say anything. Xian's full name was Li Xian. She was Chen Hao's classmate. They were very close with each other back in their high school days. Chen Hao did have a crush on her before, however, he did not understand the meaning of love back then. As for pursuing her, Chen Hao really did not have the guts to do that. He recalled that during his freshman year, he had kept in touch with Li Xian. However, she did not reply to him anymore after that, even if Chen Hao initiated the conversation. As time passed, both of them drifted apart from each other. In a blink of an eye, 3 years had passed. "Haha, let's go then. It just so happened that Xian mentioned you last month when her boyfriend was treating us to dinner. She even asked us what you were up to recently. All of us were clueless. Since we bumped into you here now, you can finally attend the gathering. Are you free tonight?" Chen Lin looked at Chen Hao while she said those words. She wanted to see his devastated expression. However, from Chen Hao's face, there wasn't a single trace of devastation. "I do have some free time tonight." "Great. Let's go then. You can catch up with everyone at the same time." While uttering those words, Chen Lin secretly raised her mobile phone and took a few pictures of Chen Hao. Then, she sent it into their classmates' group chat. "Everyone, guess quickly, who is this loser? Who's this? Why does he look so familiar? I've seen him before, I've definitely seen him before somewhere. He definitely looks familiar. His face is just too ordinary. Can anyone recall his name? Li Xian, is he Chen Hao? Oh yeah. I knew that you would be able to recognize him with one glance. That is indeed Chen Hao. After all, both of you had such a close relationship back in high school." Chen Lin said excitedly. Why was she feeling so excited? That was because she felt a sense of accomplishment for starting a topic of conversation. This was also the reason why Chen Lin suddenly wanted Chen Hao to attend their gathering. Many of their classmates left their county and headed to Jinling to further their education. There were 4 or 5 students from their class alone who went there. They might not know Chen Hao, but they definitely heard of his name before. If she brought him to the gathering, there would definitely be a good show. As if confirming her thoughts, at this moment, the entire group chat exploded with a flurry of messages after they saw her message. Was our relationship in high school good? Why did I forget about that already? Haha. Li Xian texted. Oh my god, how could you forget about your ex-boyfriend after finding a handsome guy in Zhongnan College? Chen Lin quickly replied. Go to hell. What ex-boyfriend? Why don't we invite him, since we will be meeting everyone as well? After all, he is our classmate. Li Xian messaged. Okay. Chen Lin looked at Chen Hao and said, Chen Hao, everyone wants to meet you, especially Xian. Since you are free tonight, why don't you come along? At most, I will cover your expenses since we are going Dutch. Chen Hao initially wanted to refuse. To be honest, his friends were few and far between in high school. Even if he went, he did not know what to say to them. However, since Chen Lin put it that way, Chen Hao did not think it was right to refuse her. Okay, then I'll go tonight. Chen Hao nodded his head. Chen Lin left after telling him the location of the gathering. Such a coincidence that Chen Lin actually became a teacher at my newly built school. After scratching his head for a while, Chen Hao said resignedly. He wanted to take a look around for a little longer, but he had lost all interest after hearing Chen Lin's words. It was noon now and he felt hungry, hence Chen Hao decided to leave. At the same moment, there were 3 bedraggled children standing at the entrance of the school. Their clothes were in tatters, and they looked to be about 4 or 5 years old. They were staring fixedly at the school. Brother, is this a school? Why is it different from what Ziyu said? A little girl whose face was covered in dirt asked another boy curiously. Maybe it's not opened yet. After the school opens, then it will be the same. The boy wiped away the snot on his nose. I want to go to school. Another fat young boy said. You need a lot of money to go to school. Since there are so many of us, Miss Ziyu is working very hard to support us. She must be very tired already. Brother, I am hungry. The little girl said. Let us go buy some steamed buns later then. Why are you 3 children blocking the entrance? Get lost. At this moment, a security guard walked over and scolded them fiercely. All 3 children jumped in fright. The security guard looked like he was in his 50s, and he also looked like the supervisor of the construction site. His voice was so loud that he shocked the 3 children. They wanted to run away, but they still looked back longingly at the school. Why don't you allow them to take a look? Does this school belong to you? Said Chen Hao, who had been standing at the side all this while. Boy, I did not say anything when I let you in just now. And now you think you are already above me based on what you said just now. Since this school isn't mine, then does this school belong to you? Get lost. This security guard was an impulsive guy. Chen Hao did not know what he had in the afternoon just now, but he definitely had too much to drink. He reeked of alcohol. Buy yourself some real alcohol then. Chen Hao smiled casually, took out 1,000 from his pocket and threw it in front of the security guard. This 1,000 wasn't a reward. He would tell Uncle Liang later to fire this man. How could a drunkard work as a security guard? Maybe he was somebody's relative. Oh, okay, okay. Thank you, boy. After he left, Chen Hao crouched down and gave the 3 children a smile. Do you guys really want to go to school? The girl in the middle nodded her head hard. I want to. The other 2 boys looked cautious. They were staring at Chen Hao and did not utter a single word. To be honest, when he saw the 3 children, especially their eyes that were shining with hope at the thought of attending school, Chen Hao felt a throbbing pain in his heart. Nobody knew better than Chen Hao how that felt. Chen Hao wanted to help them from the bottom of his heart. Are you guys hungry? Do you want me to bring you guys out for a meal? Ziyu said that we should not speak to strangers, let alone follow them. Both of the boys stood in front of the little girl automatically. Chen Hao smiled and nodded his head. Okay then, I will bring you some. After uttering those words, Chen Hao ran to the KFC opposite the road and bought a pile of burgers, chicken thighs, and Coke. I want to ask you to come along with me. Just eat up. In addition to that, I will fulfill your wish of going to school. Chen Hao patted the little girl's head. He gave them some burgers and Coke. Thank you, big brother. The eyes of the three children gleamed. After they received it, they started eating ravenously. How can the three of you simply eat the food given to you by a stranger? At this moment, a melodious female voice drifted over. Her voice was quite soothing to the ears. However, you could detect a slight trace of anxiousness in her voice. Sir, I am really sorry. How much is the food? I will pay for it. The girl looked at him with a bit of restraint and fear as she said that. Chen Hao's eyes gleamed when he saw the girl. It's you. Chapter 107. The Gathering. Chen Hao recognized the girl at a glance. She was the waitress who was being reprimanded by the manager, Zhang Yu, at Home Cook Kitchen restaurant a few days ago. She had left a deep impression on Chen Hao. He had only caught sight of her side profile, but he knew that she was very beautiful. Looking at her face now, he felt like she was very familiar. He slowly recalled. Do I know you? The girl whispered as she pulled the three children behind her back. She was obviously afraid of Chen Hao. What was more, she was worried that Chen Hao was a human trafficker. Of course, we met at the Home Cook Kitchen restaurant last time. Don't you remember? Chen Hao smiled and said. The girl thought for a while, and then she said, It's you, sir. Thank you for saving me last time. When she was scolded previously, she dared not look up. She just secretly glanced at Chen Hao's back when she was leaving the restaurant. She recognized him now after hearing his voice. He helped her last time. Furthermore, this person was very rich. You're welcome. You may put down your guard. Are you taking care of these three children? Chen Hao asked curiously. Yes. Su Ziyu nodded and led the three children to the roadside. While walking, she started talking to Chen Hao. It turned out that these three children were homeless. They sneaked out after being abducted by traffickers. The orphanage was not willing to accept children with unknown backgrounds. Slowly, they began to wander the streets and lived as beggars. Later on, Su Ziyu met them and took them in. Her primary job was a teacher in a kindergarten, and she made use of her spare time to take on a part-time job. By doing so, she could ensure that at least there would be food on the table. She could also save some enough money for the three children's education. It was fortunate that Su Ziyu was a kindergarten teacher. Otherwise, these three children wouldn't have behaved so sensibly. To be honest, they were quite pitiful. It seemed that these three were siblings. Chen Hao felt his heart ache. How about your family? Chen Hao asked again. I grew up in an orphanage. I don't have any family. Su Ziyu said as she lowered her head and tugged on her clothes. She was really beautiful, but being in poverty for a long time had covered up her glory. Most importantly, she was very restrained in front of Chen Hao. Chen Hao knew that she was afraid that he would dislike her. Haha, I bet Su Ziyu doesn't know that I was once a man who didn't dare to raise my head in front of others. Suziu was about the same age as Chen Hao. To be honest, Chen Hao thought he had a tragic life before this, but unexpectedly, Suziu's situation was much worse than his. She didn't even have parents. She was a girl and was kind enough to adopt 3 homeless children. This kind of girl was very rare in this world. The fact that she had adopted these children moved Chen Hao's heart. He admired her. "Where do you guys live?" Chen Hao asked. "We are staying there." The 3 children pointed to a common residency area not far from the elementary school. "I would like to have a look, can you bring me there?" Chen Hao smiled and asked. Suziu nodded after she struggled internally for a while. The residency area was a bit like an old, shanty town. After entering, Suziu wiped a stool clean and asked Chen Hao to sit. Then, she hurriedly bathed the 3 siblings and washed their faces. These children were very sensible. They would go out to pick up some garbage and sell them every day, which explained their dusty faces. "Suziu, my name is Chen Hao. Shall we be friends?" said Chen Hao. "Friends?" Suziu was surprised. In her eyes, Chen Hao must be very powerful because even the manager listened to him. How could someone so powerful be willing to make friends with her? Chen Hao couldn't answer it even if you asked him. They just met by chance today. Chen Hao was compassionate and had a special place for the poor in his heart. He could have just helped them then and there. He could arrange accommodation and school for them. Really, all of these could be done with just a word. However, when Chen Hao saw Suziu, his heart pounded. There was just something about her that made Chen Hao want to get to know her and be her friend. This feeling was very strange. Actually, it was obvious judging from their first meeting. Her side profile alone was able to leave a deep impression on Chen Hao. "Why do I feel this way about a girl that I met by chance?" Chen Hao also smiled bitterly. He couldn't answer it. In a word, he felt attached to her as soon as he saw her. Chen Hao continued talking to Suziu. The more they talked, the more familiar they became. They didn't realize that the afternoon was almost over. "Ziu, Ying, I'm leaving. I'll come to see you in a few days." Chen Hao waved at them and left. After spending half a day with them, Chen Hao had felt peace for the first time in a long time. Right now, his mobile phone rang. It was Chen Lin. Before Chen Hao left just now, he had asked for Chen Lin's phone number. Although she was reluctant, they exchanged their phone numbers in the end. "Chen Hao, this is the first time you are attending our gathering. How could you be late? Didn't we say to meet at 5 o'clock? Where are you?" Chen Lin scolded as soon as he picked up. Oh, I had something to do so I couldn't come on time. I am on my way, I'll reach in about 10 minutes. Dudu." She had hung up without saying anything. Chen Hao laughed bitterly. "I shouldn't have promised my old classmate no matter what. This is so troublesome." However, he had agreed to go after all and he wanted to keep his promise. Chen Hao returned to the parking lot, started the engine and went straight to the hotel that Chen Lin booked. After parking his car, he went into the private room. "Chen Hao, you're finally here. Everyone is waiting for you. Aren't you ashamed?" As soon as Chen Hao came in, Chen Lin looked at him in disdain. "My God, it's really Chen Hao. I haven't seen you for several years. Where are your patched clothes? Have you started to wear normal clothes?" "Ha ha ha. Hey, Chen Hao, I heard that you're studying in Jinling College. It is a famous college. You're about to start your internship, right? Have you found a company? Have a seat first and tell us more. How have you been these years?" The dining table in the room was very big. It was enough to hold more than 20 people. There were more than 20 alumni from his old school. It included 4 or 5 classmates from Chen Hao's high school class. The room was full of people. As Chen Hao smiled at them, he saw a girl sitting at the seat for guests of honor. It was Li Xian. Li Xian was the closest with Chen Hao in high school. She was also the most beautiful girl in class, and she was the friend who always studied with Chen Hao. To be honest, both of them had some feelings for each other last time, but Li Xian hadn't planned to date Chen Hao, who came from a poor family. Chen Hao hadn't planned to date Li Xian too, who came from a decent family. Their family background differences were just too big. Therefore, they were just better than good friends. Xian, I haven't seen you for 2 or 3 years. How are you? Chen Hao smiled. Li Xian had changed a lot. She had also learned how to put on makeup. She looked even more pretty and elegant than before. She was absolutely a goddess. I'm fine. You should find a place to sit down, Li Xian smiled a little and said calmly. They had not been in contact for 3 years. The feelings that she had for him were long gone, regardless if it was platonic or romantic. Chen Hao felt like he was meeting a complete stranger. All right. Chen Hao saw that there was a vacant seat beside her and was about to sit down. Who told you to sit there? His butt had not even touched the chair when he heard a cold female voice. It was quite loud and annoying, which made Chen Hao jump with fright. Chapter 108. Chen Hao's future plan. Do you think you're allowed to sit here? This seat is reserved for my boyfriend. Sigh, let us not talk about how cheap you were last time. Why are you still a loser after studying in college for 3 years? Shoo, get out of my way. Chen Hao couldn't even remember the name of this girl who was once his classmate. He was too lazy to argue with her, but that would mean that the only place he could sit at was next to the door where the dishes were usually served. Chen Hao realized that everyone seemed to want him to sit there, so he sat down with a wry smile. Actually, there was also a seat beside Li Xian. However, she had put her bag on it to indicate that the place was taken. She didn't want Chen Hao to take the seat at all. Xian, when is Ma Fei coming? After Chen Lin shook her head with a smirk while looking at Chen Hao, she turned to ask Li Xian. Humph. He always dawdles no matter what he does. He says he'll be reaching soon, but in fact it will take him a while. Li Xian actually felt proud although she was complaining about him. Oh, what did Xian just say? The fact that our Ma Fei has become the sales manager in one of the luxury stores on Jinling Commercial Street after he graduated has displeased you, hasn't it? That's right. You were very close to Ma Fei those days in school. Now that Ma Fei has become the sales manager in Jinling Commercial Street, you keep complaining about him. Just tell us the truth, are you doing it purposely to trigger our envy? But seriously, can you tell us how Ma Fei was hired? Damn, becoming the sales manager of a store on Jinling Commercial Street is 10 times better than securing a public service position. Everyone joined in the conversation as soon as Li Xian bragged about Ma Fei. Envy and jealousy could be sensed in their words. Humph. I have no idea. You can ask him yourself when he's here, Li Xian replied with a smile. At this time, the door of the room opened. 2 guys entered the room. Ma Fei, you're here. Everyone smiled at the man who was tall and slender. This guy was Ma Fei. He was Li Xian's current boyfriend. The other guy was the boyfriend of Chen Hao's female high school classmate who scolded Chen Hao a while ago. He naturally sat at the place where Chen Hao was about to sit just now. Ma Fei, we were just talking about you. Speak of the devil. Oh yes, we have a new friend today. Let me introduce him to you. His name is Chen Hao. Chen Lin smirked while pointing at Chen Hao, who was sipping his tea. Oh, so it's him. Is he the poor loser? Chen Hao, it's my pleasure to meet you. Ma Fei pretended to be surprised and walked toward Chen Hao, looking like he wanted to shake hands. Chen Hao only frowned. He sat still and ignored him. In fact, Chen Hao felt a jolt of anger at this moment. He was too naive. He thought since they were all old classmates and he hadn't seen them for several years, he would come to the gathering. It would be fun. However, when he arrived, he only realized that Chen Lin wasn't sincere in inviting him to attend the gathering. She just invited him so that he could be the barrel of laughs. Everyone looked down at him, including Li Xian, who had already become a stranger to Chen Hao. In short, Chen Hao was totally disappointed. Chen Hao didn't bother about Ma Fei, but Ma Fei looked at him with a grin and said, "Haha, Chen Hao, you are quite a character. Please excuse me, I was just kidding. Xian mentioned that both of you were close back then." Humph. Chen Hao, Ma Fei wanted to shake your hand. Look at your attitude. You have no manners at all. That's right. Ma Fei, there is no need for you to apologize to him. Xian also knows that he is just a poor idiot. Ha ha ha, watch your words. He is from Jinling College after all. Who knows that he might find a job on Jinling Commercial Street after he graduates? The others continued mocking him. Oh, then wouldn't we be colleagues? Chen Hao, I would appreciate your guidance. Ma Fei said with a simper. He loved to joke around. Furthermore, he often heard Xian's high school friends discussing Li Xian and Chen Hao. He thought, how was it possible that Li Xian fell for that poor dude back then? Sometimes, it made him feel humiliated. Therefore, once he saw Chen Hao, Ma Fei took the opportunity to make fun of him and anticipated his reaction. And now? Well, this fellow has no experience at all. He'll know the misery once he heads into the real world. Haha, Ma Fei, stop making jokes. All I can say is if Chen Hao was hired to work on Jinling Commercial Street, the employer would have to be blind. Oh right, Ma Fei, you haven't told us how you became the sales manager at the store you're working at. The topic of the conversation was back to Ma Fei. Oh, it's a long story. I think it's probably because I'm good at sales but my boss thinks I'm inexperienced, so he only gave me an annual salary of 300,000. Sigh, I still need to improve on a lot of things. Wow! That's awesome! It was rare for a fresh graduate to get an annual salary of 300,000. Moreover, he was working for a well-known company, the Jinling Commercial Group. This made Chen Lin feel jealous of Li Xian. The two of them were equally beautiful. Chen Lin was more open-minded while Li Xian was more reserved. With her personality, Li Xian became a divine beauty whom people liked more. Pride crossed Li Xian's face. She then shifted her gaze to Chen Hao who was sitting at the corner. She sighed with relief internally. At the same time, she was scared. She thought, what would have happened if I had dated Chen Hao on a whim back then? Haha. That's my luck. You guys are doing well too. Chen Lin, I heard you have become a teacher in an elementary school. Is it a permanent position? Chen Lin nodded her head and said, yes, that's right. That's great. Then most of us will probably be settling down in Jinling. My plan is to buy a house in Jinling in 2 years and marry Xian then. Ma Fei said with a smile. Haha. How about you, Chen Hao? What's your plan after your graduation? Will you be applying for the public service position? Have you decided which line of work you are going to do? Do you want to work in sales or perhaps the design industry, maybe administrative work? But I would recommend you to choose administrative work. It could be difficult for you to pass the public service examination. As for sales, to be frank, I don't think you have any talent in this area at all. Designing sounds simple, yet it's actually the most difficult job. You would need good logical thinking. I don't think you're suitable for design either. Jobs that don't require much thinking probably suits you more. As long as you know how to use a calculator, you should be able to do the job. As soon as Ma Fei finished speaking, everyone looked at Chen Hao with derision. The food had been served, so Chen Hao only focused on eating. He just nodded his head slightly and said, I still haven't decided, but I will do whatever that suits me. You don't have to worry about my future. Oh, you're just being stubborn. You should face reality. Yes, let us not talk about the fact that you are just trash. You can't even bear listening to the truth. You're a good for nothing. Chen Lin said helplessly. Meanwhile, the others didn't realize that some people were quarreling outside their room while they were mocking Chen Hao. It was a young man and a young lady. They were arguing with the waiter. I've said that I will pay extra for it, don't you understand me? There are quite a number of us and we have to book this room. Give me the amount that you need and fucking empty the room for me right now. A man who looked like a ruffian yelled furiously. Chapter 109. Su Tongzhen's Intuition. Sir, we really can't accommodate you. The dishes have been served to the customers inside. Damn, you're still rejecting us. Do you know who is treating us today? I'll give you 3 minutes. If you can't settle this within 3 minutes, believe it or not, I will call your manager. The guy said haughtily. Okay, I'll try. The female waitress quickly entered the room and told them the entire situation. Chen Lin and the rest of them were reluctant to do so. Who did these people think they are? We're here first. Furthermore, we've already taken our seats and were in the middle of eating. How could they ask us to move just because they wanted this room? Just who did they think they were? No way. Tell them that we want to be moving. Chen Lin's expression was cold and her temper started to flare. Humph. I want to see who has the guts to defy young Master Zhou. The door to the private room flew open and a group of people barged in. Based on their imposing manner, it seemed that they wanted to start a fight. Now everybody's attention was focused on Ma Fei. To be honest, an ordinary rich second-generation heir would not be afraid of Ma Fei at all. At this moment, everybody was looking at Ma Fei with hopes in their eyes. After all, Ma Fei was part of the Jinling commercial street community. Ma Fei cleared his throat and stood up. My dear friends, I reserved this place first. Of course, we definitely want to move as there is no reason for us to do so. Why don't I treat all of you to a meal in home-cooked kitchen restaurant the next time you come to Jinling Commercial Street? Ma Fei was calm and steady. He only smiled indifferently. His speech was quite eloquent. Not only did he convey his standpoint, he even indirectly expressed that he had connections in Jinling Commercial Street. Damn! How dare everyone use Jinling Commercial Street as their guise? Do you think I do not have powerful, good friends in the commercial street just because I am not from Jinling? At this moment, somebody walked in with his hands in his pockets and scoffed. Young Master Zhou, it's you. When Ma Fei saw this guy, his rigidity immediately turned into adulation. Even Li Xian gave him a slight glance. The person standing in front of him was young Master Zhou, also known as Zhou Zi. He studied in Zhongnan College and was a very rich person. Lately, he had been hanging out with young Master Bai a lot. Some time ago, young Master Zhou had attended a cruise ship gathering. Rumor had it that he had gotten acquainted with one of the big shots there. How could it not surprise them? Young Master Zhou was definitely not an ordinary rich second-generation heir. You actually recognized me? Zhou Ziyi smiled casually. How could I not? I hung out with Kun before this and he knows you. Ma Fei looked cautious. Where did all his loftiness go? Damn, you are one of Kun's friends. I came here for a meal. Do you have a problem with giving up this room for me? Zhou Ziyi sneered. No way, I would never dare do that. However, young Master Zhou, as you can see, we have already started our meals. Could you spare me some dignity here? FCK, how dare you talk about dignity in front of me? Are you going to move or not? Zhou Ziyi was getting impatient. Ma Fei gulped. The rest of the people gulped as well. They could never cross young Master Zhou. Ma Fei's connections in Jinling Commercial Street was useless. He could not use it to bargain with young Master Zhou. Young Master Zhou only needed to breathe a word to young Master Bai and Ma Fei would immediately be kicked out of Commercial Street. Although Ma Fei felt as if his dignity was shredded into pieces, he still gritted his teeth and said, "Okay, we will move, we will definitely move. Oh my god, there is so much food here. How do we move at this moment?" Chen Lin pouted. She acted like a tigress just now. She spoke the same words as before, but this time she sounded like a little lamb. We should let Chen Hao bring the dishes to the other room to make some space for young Master Zhou, said one of the girls. Okay, so be it. Ma Fei and the rest of them nodded their heads. On the other hand, Zhou Ziyi was a little dumbstruck. Chen Hao at this moment, he looked toward the young man who was sitting with his back toward him. He was quietly eating the dishes. To be honest, when Zhou Ziyi entered just now, he did glance at Chen Hao for a moment, and he felt that Chen Hao looked familiar. However, he snapped out of his stupor after somebody called out Chen Hao's name. He walked toward Chen Hao to take a closer look at him. He nearly gave out a high-pitched scream. Wasn't he this Chen Hao, also known as Young Master Chen? Chen Hao, you are here. When he recalled Bai Xiaofei's reminder a few days ago, Zhou Ziyi started to tremble as he said those words. Several of his good-for-nothing friends who were standing behind him had seen Chen Hao before. They were so surprised that they were rendered speechless. Who knew that young Master Chen would be here? He was even hanging out with this bunch of people. Young Master Zhou, do you know this poor loser at this moment? Ma Fei said in surprise. Unbeknownst to him, when Zhou Ziyi said Chen Hao's name, Ma Fei and a lot of the guys present there were green with envy. Why had young Master Zhou recognized Chen Hao but not them? Why? It's none of your business. Damn it, get lost. When Zhou Ziyi heard Ma Fei addressing Chen Hao as a poor loser, he was instantly furious. He scolded Ma Fei until his face was flushed. Oh, Zhou Ziyi, it's you. We met each other once when I went to your college. By the way, have you found your ticket yet? Chen Hao set his chopsticks down and asked casually. He intentionally changed the story a little. Oh yes, I found it. Thank you Chen Hao, I am really grateful for your help. Zhou Ziyi bent 90 degrees forward. This was a joke. After all, he was so respectful in front of young Master Bai, how could he show any less respect for young Master Chen? Thanks, Chen Hao. The rest of his good-for-nothing friends also bowed down and showed him their gratitude. It was a greeting to Chen Hao. You're welcome. Then, young Master Zhou, could you give me some face and use other rooms? Of course, of course. Zhou Ziyi did not know what Chen Hao was doing here. However, he would obey whatever orders that Chen Hao gave him. After a few more exchanges, he immediately left with everyone else. The room returned to its previous quietness because at this moment, everybody was staring dumbfoundedly at Chen Hao. How could a poor loser like him have this kind of connection? How was it even possible? Chen Hao, how do you know this young Master Zhou, and why did he thank you? Chen Lin was the most frustrated of them all. Hence, she quickly asked the question. Oh, that was because I found the bus tickets that he lost the last time. What? The crowd's eyes grew wide. Did Chen Hao think that they were stupid? Why would young Master Zhou thank someone like that just for picking up his bus tickets? Chen Hao was stunned. Although he had plucked the lie out of thin air, who knew it would be that illogical? Oh, I must have forgotten. It might have been a plane ticket. Hey! Chen Lin and Li Xian were surprised. Even if it was a plane ticket, there was no way young Master Zhou would act like that. Chen Hao scratched his head. He did not know how to continue his lie anymore. I really have forgotten what kind of ticket it was already. Anyway, he was really grateful to me. Haha. Chen Hao managed to muddle his way through the questions with one sentence. At this point, he had eaten his fill already. He felt that there was no reason for him to be there anymore. He excused himself for personal reasons. Then, he left the room and snuck away. After Chen Hao's departure, everybody in the room started looking at one another. Chen Hao was definitely lying to them. However, how did young Master Zhou know him? Why did he not recognize them? If he did, then they would have. Some of them were envious, while Li Xian and Chen Lin felt somewhat agitated. They were even afraid that Chen Hao's luck would turn around after he got to know young Master Zhou. He could find a good job. It could be possible. If that was the case, Li Xian and Chen Lin would definitely regret it. They were especially afraid that such thing would happen. Sigh. It's making me so anxious. Haha, I think young Master Zhou won't think too much of him. After all, he would only express his gratitude once or twice. Did this poor loser really think that young Master Zhou would repay him? No way. As if seeing through their worries, Ma Fei said with a grin. Only then did everyone feel much better. Chen Hao could actually get back at them for their ridicules just now. However, he chose to leave. That was because he recalled his past relationship with Li Xian. Hence, he decided to preserve some of her dignity. No matter what Li Xian was like now, she did help him out back then. They were even now. He patted his belly. Chen Hao had his fill already, and now, he wondered if Su Ziyu and the kids had their meals already. Hence, he brought along some food with him. Chen Hao went to visit Su Ziyu. For the next 7 days, Chen Hao would go over to Su Ziyu's place to chat with her and see the children. Chen Hao felt relaxed and comfortable because their life was simple. It was way better than staying in college. Chen Hao and Su Ziyu were getting closer by the day. He added Su Ziyu on WeChat and they were constantly messaging each other. Was Chen Hao falling in love with her? Chen Hao could not answer that question yet, but he really did like her. Since he was chatting with Su Ziyu all the time, he was occasionally late in replying Su Tongzhen's messages. Until one night, Su Tongzhen suddenly asked, Chen Hao, are you chatting with some other girls besides me? Chapter 110. The Fickle Heart of a Woman. Su Tongzhen and Chen Hao were more than good friends. Until now, Chen Hao had never expressed any intention to pursue her. Both of them just talked to each other. On the other hand, Su Tongzhen kept joking around with Chen Hao and said that he was her fake boyfriend. This made him feel like she did not want to take their relationship a step further, but she often threw tantrums in front of him. In short, their relationship was just too vague. I am asking you a question. Why aren't you replying? Were you chatting with other girls these past few days? Su Tongzin typed. Girls were sensitive creatures. They could smell trouble brewing from a mile away. These days, Chen Hao was acting out of the ordinary. Chen Hao usually replied to her text messages within a few seconds. Now he took more than a minute to reply back. This made her feel anxious. Chen Hao did not want to hide this from Su Tongzin, for there was nothing to hide anyway. Yes, we were just chatting with each other. Chen Hao typed. Haha, you don't have to explain yourself. Even if you did something else with her, I wouldn't know. Since you are that awesome, I bet many pretty girls are pursuing you. I just know it. The person you are chatting with, she must be quite pretty, right? What's her name? Do I know her? Su Tongzin sent a continuous stream of messages. You don't know her? I have only known her for a week. In terms of beauty, I would say her soul is way more beautiful than her appearance. To be honest, Su Tongzin had been joking around with Chen Hao a lot for quite some time now. This made him feel that she did not have any intentions to take their relationship to the next level. Even if she knew that he was rich, she only treated him as a friend. On the other hand, Chen Hao did not have any intentions toward Su Ziyu. He only thought of her as an old friend. Hence, he didn't think much about it. A girl with a beautiful soul, wow, that's amazing. So that's why young Master Chen abandoned his current girlfriend. It turns out that he has a new girlfriend already. Since when did I abandon you? Besides, you keep saying that I am your fake boyfriend. And she is not my girlfriend. Chen Hao explained. Su Tongzin sent him a facepalm emoji. Then tell me, which step in the relationship are you both at right now as your best friend and your closest sister? I would like to know. When Chen Hao saw Su Tongzin typed those words, especially the word closest sister, his heart sank. Haha. He thought that their relationship had progressed to the point where he could call it love. However, she only treated him like a brother in her heart. He could see why. He was rich, yes, but he lacked class. Hence, in terms of boyfriend material, he could never meet Su Tongzin's standards. We haven't reached that level yet. We are just friends. I like her kindness and admire her courage. In addition to that, I really have great respect for the things that she does. Typed Chen Hao. Wow. She is really cool. I need to meet her one day. Could you introduce her to me? Okay. You will definitely like her once you see her because she is a really good person. By the way, Tongzin. Hey. He wanted to ask her if she was free the next day, but he had only managed to type 4 words before he saw a bright red exclamation mark appearing at the left side of his messages. It was a prompt that indicated she had blocked his number. Chen Hao was dumbfounded. What happened? The conversation was going smoothly just now, so why did she block him? Chen Hao called Su Tongzin in a hurry. However, her mobile phone was switched off. What happened? Chen Hao scratched his head. Unbeknownst to him, just now, Su Tongzin was lying on her bed while chatting with him. To be honest, when Chen Hao was slow to reply to her messages, Su Tongzin had been making a lot of wild assumptions these past few days. She jokingly asked him whether he was chatting with other girls because if she had asked him in a strict manner, wouldn't that show that she was a shameless person? However, as expected, there really was a girl chatting with Chen Hao. Su Tongzin felt a stab of pain in her heart. She felt as if somebody had stolen something from her. All these while, she had grown accustomed to Chen Hao's care and companionship. Now another girl had taken a portion of his attention away. Su Tongzin was a little mad, but she kept quiet about it. She then proceeded to ask Chen Hao a series of questions, such as who that girl was, and whether she was beautiful. This was to let him know that she was already pissed. However, Chen Hao actually told her that the girl was pretty and that he liked her kindness. Okay, I will tolerate you for now. However, the next few words from Su Tongzhen were cold. She told him that she only considered him as her brother as she wanted to hurt him. She even asked about that girl's situation and told him that she wanted to meet her. In the end, Su Tongzhen blocked him from her friends list. After she blocked him, she actually flung her mobile phone viciously against the wall. The impact was so great that the phone was switched off. Tongzhen, what's wrong, are you alright? One of her roommates asked. I'm fine, let's go to sleep. Su Tongzhen covered her head with her blanket. The number you have dialed could not be reached at the moment. Chen Hao called her continuously but none of his calls went through. He still did not understand what was wrong with Su Tongzhen. He felt a bit depressed. After putting in so much effort, he thought he had a chance with Su Tongzhen. In the end, sigh. I am going to sleep then. I will not let these troublesome matters bother me anymore. The next morning, Chen Hao, Yang Hui and Li Rui went to the cafeteria to eat their breakfast. Chen Hao, come take a look quickly. Look who's that? The moment Chen Hao entered, Yang Hui nudged him gently and pointed toward a corner. Chen Hao looked at where he was pointing and saw that Su Tongzhen was eating breakfast with two of her roommates. Chen Hao still felt depressed about yesterday's incident. Why did Su Tongzhen block him? He made his way there and sat opposite Su Tongzhen. Tongzhen, why did you block me last night? Chen Hao asked. Did I? Why don't I know about this? Did I accidentally do so? No way, why would I block you? Su Tongzhen was asking him these questions in a strange manner. There was a hint of anger in her eyes. Chen Hao brought out his phone and said, it's true, take a look. You really did block me. Slam. Su Tongzhen immediately slammed her chopsticks down on the table. Then, she replied coldly, are you guys done yet? Let's leave now. After giving Chen Hao a glance, Su Tongzhen left with a cold look on her face. I'll be damned. What happened last night? Chen Hao, Su Tongzhen has always treated you very well. Why are you guys fighting? Yang Hui asked excitedly. I don't know. I was chatting with her when this happened. Maybe she is starting to hate me. Chen Hao laughed at himself. That's not possible. There is no reason for her to hate you unless you did something wrong. All girls need to be coaxed. Why don't you give it a try? Do you still want to pursue her? Asked Yang Hui. This was considered a flaw in Chen Hao's personality. He did like Su Tongzhen. Hence, he paid extra attention to her thoughts and values. The moment they had disagreements, Chen Hao would take her seriously. This had something to do with Chen Hao's past experience as well. After all, Chen Hao had only begun to learn how not to blush in front of girls. As to understanding a woman's heart, this was an important skill that Chen Hao needed to learn and practice. But she said that she wanted to be my sister. If I were to pursue her, wouldn't that mean that I would lose her as a friend? Chen Hao sighed in his heart. However, Yang Hui was right, girls definitely needed some coaxing. Why not give it a try?
Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget.